Stock market looks bad. Come on, can we take a moment really quick? I'm not trying to be that guy, but like, can we take a moment, man? It's been a while since I whipped this out. And I felt like a 1% down move on the S&P 500 was the right type of time to whip this thing out. I actually owe them a shout out. I never gave them a shout out. Maybe we could clip this. Praying.com. They actually sent me this. Welcome back to the stream. We are rounding out a crazy week. Every minute, second, hour, I think we're getting closer to like some sort of climax, either direction, either Trump triple taco supreme or some level of escalation, which is just not good. You kind of know where I stand on what I think is going to happen. I think the most important press conference of this entire war just happened, and there were some Trump comments that were made that are, I would go with, particularly jarring. And so we're going to talk about a lot of those. We're going to spend some time today doing some history. I want to go back. We have a comprehensive history of every Trump taco that's ever happened. We have a lot to get into. We have a lot to cover. I'm not gonna lie, guys, it's 65 degrees in New York City today, and I was walking around and I'm just like in the mood to I'm just like in the mood to cause problems today. I don't know what to say about it. I'm in the mood to cause some problems. I'm not in the mood to stir the pot. Bro, it's 65 degrees in New York. I walk outside and I'm like, man, maybe the world isn't so bad. Maybe it's not so bad, but then I open TradingView and I'm like, oof, maybe it is so bad. I'm not gonna lie, I've been going through my phone and I saw myself on the camera and I started going through my phone and answering like slide-in DMs I haven't answered in a month. I got some brutal responses too. I got a couple pretty bad ones, a couple KYS, but it's that type of time. New York City, it was 65 degrees. I got a coffee. I sipped it once, a black cold brew with a little milk in there. And I walked back outside, I look at the sun and I'm like, whose drama can I escalate right now? Like, what pot can I stir right now? Answer, March 1st, answer, February, I'm just like answering February shit. I'm ready to go. Back, we have a lot to talk about. Let's get serious. Nothing about this is not serious. Let's get fucking serious. I don't even know where to start today. I have a bunch of, let's get serious. There's nothing to joke about today. There's no jokes. There's nothing to joke about today. It's serious. It's Black Monday, but it's a Thursday. Like, we're gonna get to Hegseth and shit in a minute. Just like I start the stream and I try to buy as much time as humanly possible before I have to talk about Pete Hegseth. It's my goal every day. I set a timer, like a stopwatch right when we start, and I'm like, how much time can I kill before I have to say Pete Hegseth for the first time? I got through 12 and a half minutes today. Pete Hegseth comes out, says we're negotiating with bombs. Not exactly what you want to see. All right, market closes in 3 minutes. It means I have 3 minutes to play some slop. Here's how we're gonna start the stream.
All right, guys, it's day 14 of day trading. Let's get it. So I learned a new strategy. It's called Bollinger Bands with RSI. So let me explain, right? So I think we actually might have a setup. When it goes below, let's see. So that very bottom line is at like the 24. I don't know what the 24 number means. I don't know what it means. It just means market is going to shift.
By the way, I don't fucking know either.
Means market is going to shift up. I think. Also, it had one of the wicks has to close below the lower Bollinger Band. I think. I'm pretty sure. So let's put in a long position and let's see what happens. So
he's more honest than all you motherfuckers that rip paid groups.
So we put our take profit at that high and the stop loss at that low. So this should be a pretty good setup. It's kind of just consolidating right now. I don't really know what's happening, but it is going up. Oh, we are about to hit take profit. We're so close. This is an immaculate trade setup. This is immaculate. This is fucking immaculate. Yes! We hit take profit. That strategy was OP. I'm going to keep using this one. Follow for day 15.
The kids are going to be all right, man. I learned how to trade options when I didn't learn well, but I started trading options when I was 16 because I thought it was the coolest thing ever, and just wiped out account after account after account after account. They don't tell you that trading is actually like really fucking hard. Here's where we're at. SPY down 1.7%. It's one of the deepest dumps we've had in a while, almost 2%, which is not fucking nothing. It's absolutely not nothing. We're down 1.7%. It's and 645 support. This thing is holding on by a thread right here. It really is. This thing is holding on by a thread right now, first and foremost. This is just a broader market. I want to say something, by the way, is if you remember when Bitcoin crashed on this move, it was this final just scam, just crush where we went from 73 to like 59 in a day. I came on stream the next day, and I don't want to say I was like sounding the alarms, but I came on stream, and if you were here, you remember. I said one of two things just happened. Either crypto just died alone by itself, a deep, slow, lonely, painful death, or it's front running the rest of the market is about to get crushed. And it's starting to look like the former. It really is. It's starting to look like it just front ran. And now I heard this like really interesting theory, right? Where it's like, this was on a Thicky space. I'm not going to articulate it well, but this guy came up and he asked a question, and he was basically talking about how the answer is always written in charts. It's always written in the charts. And so PX had looked really bad, and it had this rounded top, and it's been weak. Everyone's been bearish. We had the Citrini article. Like, there's been like infinite. We have private credit, and we have the SAS names getting destroyed, and we have PE compressing, and you have like CapEx tapped out. You had like everything you could ever have going. And then, boom, all of a sudden, war breaks out. We go to war. We start striking Iran, and then SPY starts falling off a cliff. It hasn't really happened yet, but it starts looking like it's going to fall off a cliff. And there's this like theory of like, I'm going to explain it really bad. If someone could find an article we could read about it, where like it's written in the charts that, you know, the joke about everything's priced in, don't even ask the question, it's priced in. That war was like priced in, and this was why the market was so down bad or looking so weak in correlation with everything else. And people that knew we were about to go to war, or the people on the front lines, are like moving the biggest money, and they're selling first, and they're creating the rounded top. And then as things get worse, it gets worse, it gets worse. And then we're actually at war, and war's been like priced in for months. And that's why SPYs looked topped. It's written in the charts. Things seems to play out every single time, both directions, right? Crypto's really strong. 2024, boom, we have ETFs. And it's like, it's already been true. I just read this book. I just finished it. Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. This book, I hate trading books. I think they all suck. This book is 273 of the greatest pages of literature that you will ever come across in your entire life. I genuinely feel blessed by God to live in the same timeline that my eyes get to grace over these pages. I'm not joking. I genuinely feel like I was blessed from the universe and God himself to allow me to read these pages of literature in this timeline, in this lifetime, at this age. And one of the things, you know, the book takes like a weird turn at the end. And at the end, it takes this turn towards Jesse Livermore just becomes a master manipulator of markets. And this is like his whole thing. And like one of the things he says at the end is like kind of dark, but he's just talking about how there's no such thing as an organic move in markets. Every move up is insider manipulation, front run, and every move down is insider manipulation and front run. And there's no such thing as like a stock doesn't go down just because like bearish market conditions. It's like, no, everything goes down individually on their own accord because the insiders and the people closest to the stock are front running news either direction, earnings either direction, reports either direction. And so one of the things he says at the end is that he doesn't believe it's possible to be a successful speculator over a long period of time consistently, because there's no way to 100% guarantee success in either direction of either trade, because every move is manipulated at all times. It's kind of a crazy take, which you could look at both directions. You could look at it with doom and gloom. Oh my God, everything's a Ponzi. Or you could look at it with deep optimism and be like, oh my God, everything's a Ponzi. I can identify it. I can find mega church spots. I can trade it. He kills himself at the end as a bear. He blows up $100 million, which is like $2 billion, I think, equivalent now just for inflation. And he can't stop trading. And that's how it ends. It's pretty dark, but it's one of the greatest pieces of literature I've ever read. No, he doesn't say he killed himself in the book. I will never recommend a trading book to you, but this is seriously like the greatest literature of all time. There's nothing better. So, Trump pausing energy plant destruction for 10 days until Monday, April 6th. As per Iranian government request, please let the statement serve to represent that I'm pausing the period of energy plant destruction by 10 days to Monday, April 6, 2026 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Talks are ongoing. Despite statements to the contrary by the fake news media and others, they're going very well. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. That was a very weak taco. We're still going to bomb them. We're just going to like wait a couple more days. That was very weak. All right, look, here's where we closed. SPY down 1.7%. Q's down 2.4%. Big tech is getting fucking crushed. IGV down 1%, which is a little bit surprising. The Dow down another percent. Nas down 1.6%. Individual names, Crypto first, Hyperliquid down a bunch, but looks decent. How much oil came out of the SPR? 2 million barrels a day, but it's useless. Silver getting crushed, Sol getting crushed, everything. Dollar pretty strong, but just fell off a cliff there. Gold down 2.6. Bitcoin down 3, but obviously we get the nice candle on a fake taco. It's crazy. Bond yields up 10 or up 1.6% in the 10-year. And then stretch almost over 100. And individual names, Palantir getting crushed with software. Just brutal. Fens 50-50. Gap down in chemicals. Nvidia down 4. SanDisk down 11. Just disgusting. Microsoft, just disgusting. Oracle down 2. Micron down 7. Meta down 8%, bro. Oil is not collapsing. Oil looks fine. It just fucking ate that candle like a fucking bitch. Meta's down 8%, gentlemen. It's starting to get nasty. Amazon down 2. Tesla down 3.5. Google down 3. AMD had a look at this chart. AMD had a crazy gap up 8% day yesterday and then down 8% today. Just look at this. Disgusting. Gap up, gap right back down. Intel down 7, and then individual names. Open door to 4. Rivian, who cares? Zeta, who cares? SoFi down 4. HIMS flat. Figma up, which is like what? Just shop of fucking hell in crypto or in stocks right now. The stock, the shop of death. Roblox down 5. Who cares? HUD down 3. I don't even care about it. Like, there's like 5 stocks I care about. Just the shop of absolute hell. And so you guys want to know what just happened here? By the way, you want to know what just happened? The law of diminishing fucking tacos. It did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. It did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. Okay, you know what's happened on this Trump taco announcement? This is what just happened. This is what just happened. It did fucking nothing. It did nothing. You remember that when I got the whiteboard out 3 days ago and I said one of 3 things are going to happen. He's going to invade. He's going to actually Supreme Taco pull out, or he's going to taco, and we're going to get to a moment where the taco does nothing and we actually go higher after it. And that's when everything's lost. That is when everything is lost. Okay. And gentlemen, we are coming fucking closer to that. I'm of the belief right now that today and today only is the first day that I think real panic has started to set in a little bit. Today was the first day people are starting to be like, oh, fuck. Fuck. This is a little bit of a oh, fuck type of day, I think. You could just feel it. Base16Z made the tweet a week ago. And he said it's the first day panic. It was, and it wasn't. This is the first day I think panic is setting in. And I don't say this to be doomer, by the way. Let's just give it straight. I mean, let's just talk about it. If you are a bear, you're not too late. SPY is down fucking 7%, bro. It's not even down. It's down 7 fucking percent. It's down 7%. And so we, my friends, are knee deep in the diminishing taco returns. So here's what I want to say. This actually helps the take that I bringing to stream today. First and foremost, what the fuck is the White House doing? They just tweeted this. I mean, what the fuck? What's happening? They're just tweeting like dumbass shit. Completely ridiculous stuff. But that's not important. What is important is some more updates, okay? And so one escalation happened last night. Israel ripping attacks into Iran. And this is part of the problem with Trump tacos is like, Trump saying that the U.S. is not going to attack Iran does not mean Iran is done being attacked. Does not mean oil is safe, okay? Because the way things are going, Israel acts on its own. The Iranian negotiators are very different and strange. They're begging us to make a deal, which they should be doing since they have been militarily obliterated with zero chance of a comeback, and yet they publicly say that they are only looking at our proposal. Wrong. They better get serious soon before it is too late, because once that happens, there is no turning back and there won't be pretty. Okay, what is this strange? What do you mean they're strange? Why are they strange? They're begging for a deal. They're lying to everybody, and they don't get serious. There's no turning back. Okay. Next, Trump comes out and says our allies are all retarded. NATO nations have done absolutely nothing to help with the lunatic nation now militarily decimated of Iran. It's pretty contradictory here. He goes back and forth between we crushed Iran, and then why won't our allies help us? NATO's useless. We crushed Iran. Why won't our allies help us? The USA needs nothing from NATO, but never forget this is a very important point in time. Look at that full taco retrace. I'm not going to lie, this one is significant. This one is significant. Why did you exit Tau too soon? Because I think we're going to go to war. I really do. Yeah, I mean, that's the most important candle I think we've seen. I'm not going to lie. This is the least effective taco candle by far. at least up until this point. And as bad as I want a long oil, and as many times as I've been in this trade and made money from it, it's one of the you can't be too early, you can't be too early, you can't be too early to it. This is the most important clip from the whole interview. Watch this clip real quick, and I'm going to talk about it.
Nobody thought we could get to 50,000 or 7,000 in the respective indices. Nobody thought that was going to happen, but it did in the first year. They said it couldn't happen in 4 years, that you wouldn't hit 50 in 4 years, but you could maybe get close. We hit it in the first year. And I said, this is a good time to solve a problem that you had to solve. And that's what I did. But the gas tax, people have talked about it. It's something we have in our pocket if we think it's necessary.
And if I can follow real quickly, you just recently took off, Secretary Duffy, 17,000 truckers off the road that quite frankly could not speak English, which is a safety issue.
Yeah.
Could we ever?
So Trump says, he references the market 2 ways. First thing he says is that the Dow was 50,000. SPX was 7,000. This was a good time to solve some problems. Crazy, number one. That's a crazy number one. This is a good time to solve some problems, he fucking says. Okay? But the second thing he says is the most... I'm sorry, but I want to just set the stage. Feel pretty strongly right now, more than ever, that the only way to trade this market is you do what Trump says. You just do. Floating again, this is the reason I stopped doing the oil longs. And I'll only do it if it really spirals out of control and they can't control the market anymore. We're trading what Trump says. 100,000%. We're trading what Trump says. You have to. If you're going to go against Trump, you are asking to just be stopped. You just are. And this is the jurisdiction I'm operating under for if we're taking positions. We'll see what happens. We'll see where we're at. But that was like the most significant. I don't love watching these Trump interviews. That was the most significant interview, I think, that the comment I think that he's given. So here's where the poly markets are at. US enter by December is basically flat, 71% and some change. By April, I think this is up and then down. It got as high as 65. It's down to like 60 right now. And then by March 31st, it's still going down. And then the other market we care about is ceasefire. By April 30, what has the most volume? March 31st is the most volume. This is down to 8%. But that's really soon. By April 7th, there's how much volume. April 15th has a lot of volume. Basically down only the last couple days. May 31st has decent volume. Just down a lot. Ceasefire odds are down a lot. So I don't know. I don't fucking know. But getting to a climax one way or another. Escalation, Taco Supreme, or Taco doesn't really matter anymore. And this PA is pretty significant to me. rasmr, I'm about to fucking tweak, man. What are you saying? What the fuck are you saying, man? What are you saying? It's just like, fuck, dude. If you're so right, show me a P&L. Show me a trade. Otherwise, what the fuck are we doing, man? Look at my face. Look at my fucking face. I closed oil long. Post it, bro. Just post it. Just post it. And otherwise, what's the point? What's the point? Everyone, it's just like, bro. No. You tweeted 10% oil. You didn't post the fucking trade. It's like, just post it. I don't want to call you, and I'm going to call you. Like, I'm trying to run a fucking show, man. Fuck. God, what, dude? Why?
Okay. Dude. It's not taco versus no taco, Trump taco. 10 days to fucking not bomb energy infra is an ultimatum. It's closer to what we had last week with the 48-hour ultimatum than anything, except this time it's 10 days. Okay? This is first and foremost. That's one of my takes. Okay? Okay, so it's not like Trump's tacoing and the market is there's a full taco rebound on oil. It's like, it wasn't a taco. So that's my first take. Secondly, when Trump is on the fucking, when he's on the press saying, oil should be higher because he's obviously priming for escalation, he's going to escalate less than people expect. That's what I'm saying is going to happen. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't mean to fucking piss you off, but I'm just like...
Are you fucking... It worked.
Well, your stream is more important than mine, bro. So what the fuck? I'm saying all this shit on my stream, play by play. I feel like I've been, extremely predictive of it. Not to fucking glaze whatever, but it's like, nobody fucking... I'm not getting any fucking clout. I'm not getting any fucking pee-pee-poo-poo glaze, so I'm just
You just called me to fucking get clout?
Okay, so let's see what happens weekend, bro. Because I'm telling you, I agree that there's going to be an escalation, but I think it's going to be less of an escalation than what the market.
There's just no escalation from this point that isn't like a fucking ground invasion, bro. There's no more like pseudo escalation.
This is where I'm telling you you're wrong. This is where I'm telling you you're wrong. He's going to escalate. It might be some kind of strategic ground operation or something, but it's going to be something that's like less scary than what you're saying it is, but technically still an escalation. And the market's going to take it as a win because he's already priming you to freak out and be scared.
That wasn't the worst take. Thanks, man.
All right, good luck. I didn't mean to fucking spike your cortisol.
Yeah, well, it's fucking jacked up, man.
Well, I could have just called it on video in a normal way, and we could have just.
That's a serious commitment.
Bro, you've had some random ass debates before, bro.
That's like a big time spot, you know. I mean, that's not like a free. That's a big time spot.
Okay. Well, let's see. Maybe I'm wrong. Hey, in 4K. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be, completely incorrect in 4K. Because if I'm wrong, I give everybody in chat permission to call me a retard. Okay.
They were doing it without permission. I love you, man. Have a good one, bro. Talk soon. All right, peace. I have Mark Jeffrey coming on the stream. This is Mark. He works on this still core cap with Jason Calacanis and Rob. They're a Tau fund. Big crypto bull, OG Bitcoiner. He's going to come talk like 30 minutes about Tau just because it's been the best performing token for a while. Boom. Mark Jeffrey, welcome to the stream, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for coming on, man. It's an absolute pleasure. We're kind of all over the place. There's a lot happening. We're talking Trump, geopolitics. We haven't been doing a lot of crypto, but man, over the last, 2-3 weeks, this BitTensor Tau has been all over my feed. And it's honestly been a little bit refreshing to tap back in, talk about some crypto, talk about some everything going on in that world. Like, how did you get Tau pilled and why are you working on this now?
Yeah, so it was about 2 years ago. I read a report by Masari by a guy named Sami Kaseb.
Oh, hell yeah. He's been on the stream.
Yeah. Okay, so you know him. Yeah. So he himself is also doing a BitTensor fund, right? So it was his paper that kind of made me start suspecting that there was something very important going on here. And, as I said, I was there early 2013 for Bitcoin and then again for Ethereum. And the more I read about it and the more I understood what was going on here, I started quickly, maybe over a couple months, gaining conviction that this was the third great coin, right? So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then this is the most important thing that's happened since Ethereum. And the more I gained conviction on that and having seen, having bought my first Bitcoin on Mt. Gox, for $250 back in the day, and seeing sort of how that spiraled up. And then again with Ethereum, I quickly, my opinion was, look, it's going to happen again. And it's going to happen with this BitTensor Tau thing. So how do I get as much Tau as possible? How do I become like the Winklevi and own 1% of Bitcoin, right? Of this Tau thing. That was the thinking, right? So how do I do that? And I've got my own stack from my Bitcoin and Ethereum adventures, but how can I get more? And running a fund was the best way to do that. And I had a couple partners that were thinking about doing it approach me, and then I approached Jason about investing in the fund, Jason Calacanis. And Jason Calacanis came back and said, well, can I be a partner in the fund? So, we quickly said yes to that. So
why is it the most important crypto since ETH?
Well, I mean, I think if you look at, what Bitcoin did, what Ethereum did, right, is it looked at Bitcoin and it said, this is super interesting, but this little tiny smart contracts thing, let's blow that up. Let's make a Turing complete machine. Let's make the world computer, right, as Vitalik was calling it. But a great idea. And that led to the explosion at first of ICOs and then DeFi summer. So we got decentralized lending, we got decentralized exchanges, we got stable coins. There was this whole little rich Cambrian explosion that happened first anyway inside the Ethereum and EVM ecosystem. What BitTensor does is it takes the other side of Bitcoin, the mining side, and says, let's make that programmable, right? Let's allow the BitTensor chain to subsidize into being all these AI and other commodities, digital commodities, and let's make this whole other Cambrian explosion happen. And I fully, obviously, buy into the theory that was going to happen, and it started to happen. And the reason why you've been hearing about BitTensor so much is because the successes are now starting to become obvious to the rest of the world for the first time. Templar Subnet 3 just announced that they completed a 72 billion parameter training run of a frontier model. It was fully decentralized, right? Like, so what does that mean? Well, you and I, right? If you want to make like a new ChatGPT or a new Grok, you have to have 200,000 GPUs, right? Like, which is what Elon has,
Disgusting.
right? In Colossus. So imagine, so you and I don't have that, but imagine like a Napsterized Colossus that is coordinated and incentivized by the emissions in a BitTensor subnet called Templar Subnet 3. And and a lot of people said it couldn't be done. You could not do AI training in a decentralized fashion. Subnet 3 just proved they could do it. Huge amount of attention, 2 million views on the tweet. They talked about it on the All In Pod. Chamath brought it up, right? On the All In Pod, talking to Jensen, and that clip went viral. So and then the CEO or one of the co-founders of Anthropic has talked about it twice now and put that training run, put Templar in a paper that he wrote, and called it out as like, hey, this is the world's largest decentralized training run. We didn't really think this was possible. Now that we know that it is, in the future, and the other thing to remember about this, what is Bitcoin? Well, it's a lot of things, but it's also Earth's largest supercomputer. It's 500 times larger than its nearest competitor. What do we need to train AI? Earth's largest supercomputer. So how did Bitcoin grow? Well, it incentivized itself into existence. It convinced all these people to donate CPU and electricity to try to mine these coins. So let's do that. It worked once. Let's do it again for AI and all these other projects that need intense amounts of GPU.
One of the tweets I saw that I liked was actually this guy Kel, who also used to work at Masari, and he tweeted in response and basically saying like the idea of the decentralized training run, at first it was thought that it couldn't be done, and then now that it's been done, the discourse has switched to it's too small, which is like a real step function forward. And so on a different note, like one of my questions for you is, we trade crypto. I trade a lot of crypto, and not all crypto is garbage, but you trade a lot of attention. You trade a lot of things on attention, not fundamentals, not PE ratios, not forward earnings, a lot of attention. And the thing that was interesting about BitTensor and why I've been talking about it is I think it's the first crypto in a while that has gotten this like mainstream tech Silicon Valley attention. Obviously Jason Calacanis, but then you see like Chamath talking about the Templar run to Jensen, and you see was it Jack Joseph or Joseph Jack, one of these AI guys, who's like JJ, who's not a crypto. If anything, they're anti-crypto, and they're like, okay, cool, fuck it, Tau. Why are these tech adjacent anti-crypto crowd like talking about BitTensor? Like, what just happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think because they realized that Bitcoin's success could potentially be replicated for AI, for doing like open source AI, right? Like BitTensor is in a lot of ways, it is open AI. It's what OpenAI, the company, should have been, but did not become, right? And part of the reason for that is that, with open projects, like open software projects like Linux maybe, or something like that, the early contributors don't get anything, right? There's no ownership layer, right? Bitcoin was the first open source, project that had an ownership layer from day one, right? If you were just some kid in their bedroom mining coins in 2010, right? You got coins, which meant you had an ownership layer. You were invested in Bitcoin's success and its future. Like stock, it's not stock, but it's like stock in the sense that it's ownership, right? And by making mining programmable, and by making the BitTensor, BitTensor is basically like, let's do Bitcoin again. Yeah. So same economics, 21 million coins in the Tau token, right, the base layer. And then it's true also that there's 128 subnets, each one of them a different AI project, right, that has its own different mining contest. They're all totally different. But each one of those subnets also has a coin. Again, those are limited to 21 million. And just like Bitcoin, they are emitted into a liquidity pool. And the only way you can get them, and this is extremely important, the only way you can get subnet tokens is by staking Tau into the liquidity pool which is in this like Uniswap thing that's baked into the chain. It's not a, it's not an app on top. It's like inside. And so what that means is that all the subnet tokens are rehypothecated Tau. It's another form of the same thing, right? Now the subnet token pools can grow and shrink depending on how well that subnet does, right, on the marketplace. Just like any marketplace. But the subnet token itself, like in Ethereum and Solana and everything else, they build smart contracts and tokens on top of the gas token, but there is no economic connection, right? Like these are tied at the hip. Like it's a very, very different dynamic. So if you look at Bitcoin and you say, holy shit, this, Bitcoin incentivized Earth to donate absolutely insane amounts of GPU, CPU, and electricity to mine with these incentive economics, these contest onomics. It worked really well once. It should work again for this other thing, which requires a lot of GPU, otherwise known as AI. And I think people are cluing into that narrative. And they're like, oh, yeah, we've never tried to do it again. It worked. Capitalism worked once. Let's try it again.
So I can run it back. What are you investing in? Like, how are you figuring out? Because the subnet scene is there's just like a lot there, right? Like it took me a while to get BitTensor, and then I'm like, geez, there's a lot under the hood there. Like, what are you guys investing in? How are you like figuring out how much capital to allocate to what? Like, how does the fund actually work?
Yeah, so we are our goal is to raise enough to own 1% of all Tau. So again, just like the Winklevi, right? So that's the game plan. We're only 5 months old, so it's early days. But we've raised a decent amount so far. We haven't made any announcements yet. We will at some point, but it's not quite time yet. However, we have announced that we've invested in a couple of subnets. One of them being Ridge's subnet 62, which makes a Claudin cursor killer, right? Which is beating it on the SWE benchmark tests. So it costs $29 a month versus like 200 plus for a Claude or cursor, right? So it's like 1/10 the cost. We've also announced an investment in Targon subnet 4, which is confidential compute and inference. And Intel just published a paper with them that just got announced a couple days ago.
So I saw you post it.
Yes, I did. And then we've also announced a investment in Hippias, which is subnet 75, and they are decentralized storage, which would seem like it has nothing to do with AI, but AI, needs a lot of storage to crunch things, right? You have to put the data somewhere at scale, and Hippias offers storage for like 1/400th, literally 1/400th the price of any other competitor. So extraordinarily cheaper. One of the things you asked about criteria, we obviously look for a great product. We look for some market maturity. Very much like how you would invest in startups. We also look for like, how is the subnet token going to grow in value? Stuff that's just like, is the subnet token just a meme coin for that subnet? That's not good enough. With Hippias, you have to stake Hippias tokens in order to gain the right to mine the Hippias subnet. How do you mine the Hippias subnet? You supply storage to Hippias, right? And you get slashed if you suck, right? You have to be responsive, all that stuff, right? So, so it deterministically ties the value of the Hippias token to a rise in usage and revenue of Hippias, the product. So we like that. And the team was great. We love the people behind it. Other things that I like, Nova, which is AI pharma molecule discovery. So they
they were just on This Week in Startups, right?
Yes. They were just on This Week in Startups yesterday. So yes. So we like them. We've also invested in Score, which is computer vision. So it's understanding. It's not enough just to slap a camera on an AI, right? You have to have the AI has to understand, how to see. Like, what is that blob walking around? Oh, that's a human.
What am I looking at?
This is a car, right? Perspective, like it has to understand the sight, right? Just like a baby learns how to see. They can see, but they don't know how to see yet. They don't know how to map the input to the world, right? So we really like Score. Score started out by using their visual mapping for sports balling money teams, right? Or sorry, sports balling sports teams. Money balling sports teams.
I followed the first one. It just took me a second.
I reversed it. So they basically went to European soccer teams and who can't afford these big AI scouting systems, and because they can provide the same thing for a tenth or lower the cost, all of a sudden amateur sporting teams could afford AI moneyballing and AI sort of visual scouting of great players. So, and those are just a handful of subnets of the 128, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
You're really deep on a lot of these.
Oh yeah. So I run a pod called Hash Rate.
Okay.
I've interviewed most of these people at least once on most of the subnets.
Nice.
So
I
obviously
want to
the
go. I'll
new
go
ones I
watch a
haven't
couple
got,
ones
yeah.
that you're invested in. On the on the LLM side specifically, like, because that's interesting to the audience as well. Is like, why would it be possible that a subnet could theoretically beat Claude or like beat Cursor or beat one of these major AI labs that is building out either LLMs or is building out some sort of like organization system? Like, why would a subnet be able to compete with these like billion, trillion dollar companies?
Yeah, so let me explain in Bitcoin terms first, right?
Cool, rip it.
So imagine like Satoshi didn't like do this decentralized thing. He just woke up one morning and he went to Sequoia and he raised a bunch of money, right?
Yeah.
And right, and he said, okay, we're going to make this alternate universe Swift system and this alternate universe digital gold. So we have to buy a lot of servers all over the earth to run this network. It would have been like, just imagine the insane amount of cash it would have taken, right? So. And on top of that, you'd have to, like, we're going to hire in Silicon Valley. That's where our offices are. So if you're an engineer, you have to move there, right? And also, if you're dead weight, you might be able to hide in my company for a long time because there's tons of engineers.
Yep.
Now, instead of doing that, so in BitTensor world, the proposition is we're not going to hire anybody. We are just going to set up a goal, like what we want people mining for. And in this case, with Ridges, it's I want you to make a software agent capable of beating Claude and Cursor. There are 256 mining slots, so there's 256 possible entrants into the contest, and they all submit their entries usually like once a day, right? And at the end of that, and anyone from all over Earth can compete. There is no HR department, there's no salaries, and you don't have to geographically be anywhere. You can be in Turkey, you can be in India, right? So you get Earth's best minds that are all competing against each other. And they don't have to take a job, so they can just do this until they're bored and leave, right? And if they win, it depends on when you look, but it's somewhere between 25K and 75K worth of subnet tokens, which you can sell immediately, or you can hang on to because you think Ridges might blow up and be worth as much as Claude or Cursor down the road, right? So because of this fierce competition, which is going on with Earth's best minds trying to one-up each other, every day, and at the end of each day, the winning result is published. So everybody benefits from the cleverness of the last winner, right? And then it begins again. So this contest, you cannot beat contestonomics that have financial and ownership incentives that are worldwide. That's what it turns out, right? And with only a handful of like $1 million or $2 million, Ridges surpassed what Claude and Cursor had done with hundreds of billions within a very short couple of month time frame, right? So this is it's the most efficient form of capitalism ever invented. It's the most ferocious form. Nobody gets paid unless they win. Only the winner gets paid. So there is no dead weight.
Near the end here, can you share? You have a price target for Tau that you could say?
I'll tell you what so not financial advice, but I will tell you what I think because I have said it before. So like I said, I was around in the early Bitcoin days, and I watched Bitcoin go from like $200 to 1,200. Then I got scared, went back to 600, and then all the way back down to 250, right? And it sort of did this bobble thing, and then at some point it jumped up to 3,000, and then 10,000, and all of that happened within the first year after the first halving of Bitcoin, right? So like 2013 or 14, something like that. BitTensor just left its first halving. Right. So
because you're looking at it on like halvening scale.
So so I'm looking at it for a couple of dimensions, but halvening is absolutely one of them, right? Because so it's 2013, if you will, in BitTensor world. And what is its price? Well, it's around $300, right? And it's sort of bobbling around $300 at the moment, right? So it's exactly like Bitcoin. But on top of that, you have the subnets. And the subnets, to make a subnet, that requires Tau. How much Tau? Well, between 100K and $1 million worth of Tau, depending on when you look and how much demand there is. There's also going to be more subnets at some point, probably in the next year. So the number between 128 is going to go to 256. That alone is going to create a giant amount of demand for Tau. Just James Altucher did an analysis of that, and he's like, "Oh my God, that alone could drive it up to several $1,000s. Never mind everything else." Then you have staking of Tau into subnets to get subnet tokens. 20% of all Tau that's in circulation is currently staked within subnets. And then another 40% or so is staked, 50% is staked en route, which is kind of like the lazy way to stake and get some rewards. So, roughly 70% of it is staked. And so it's not moving around, right? So you got all these things which cost Tau and which cause you to stake Tau. So that Bitcoin doesn't have that. So in addition to the Bitcoin-like dynamics, you have Ethereum-like dynamics, right? And I think all these things are going to start compounding at some point. And I think it's pretty conservative to think that, if it does only what Bitcoin does, we'll see something like a $3,000 Tau by the end of this year.
Whoa.
Right. And I think that's a conservative bet. Now, it's only my opinion, but still core, and, we are positioning ourselves accordingly based on thinking that. And if you listen to Barry Silbert speak, right, who became a Bitcoin billionaire,
hell yeah.
right? He recently said at a Bitcoin conference that he thinks Bitcoin BitTensor Tau could 500x. It has that kind of a potential. Not this year, but just in general, right?
Wow.
I mean, that's what I think.
I'll say this: I respect someone that comes on and gives a fucking price target. That was a sick price target. That was sick, and dude, I appreciate you coming on. We should get Jake Hell on at some point. I appreciate. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he might do it. He's getting more excited about Tau, as you've noticed, right? So
yeah, maybe we'll set it up and we'll rip it. I appreciate you coming on. Is there like I don't know, like as a sign off, like where do you send people if they want to learn more about it, if they want to follow what you're doing, watch your interviews you've done with founders on the subnets, like where do you send people? Where do you tell them to go? Like where can people learn more about everything you're doing?
Yeah, on X I'm at Mark Jeffrey, Jeffrey. And Hash Rate is the name of the pod where I interview all the subnets. I most of my views are on X, but I also have a YouTube channel that replicates them. So just search for Mark Jeffrey, you'll find me. The company is called Stillcore Capital, so stillcorecapital.com for accredited investors only. But if you're curious about what we're doing, go there.
Sick, Mark Jeffrey, dude, it's an absolute pleasure. I appreciate you coming on. It was a blast. It was fun to do cons, then rip you. It was awesome, man.
Anytime.
Thanks for the time, bro. I really appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thanks, dude.
All right, have a good one, brother. Peace. All right, chat, what do y'all think? I actually like that guy. I'm not gonna lie. I like that guy. If I wasn't so like, all I can think about right now is Trump tacos. I actually like that guy. I'm not gonna lie. He's a sharp guy. He's a fucking smart guy. Also, no one ever wants to give a fucking price target. Everyone comes on here and is like, doesn't want to give a price target. We had to get him on, right? You have to do the the founder, then the fun guy, and then we're like, Jason would be sick, by the way. I snuck that in there. I like that guy. Love you. I appreciate you. Basketball's on. Go watch it. Have a great rest of your day, little motherfuckers. Peace.